Thank you, Noe, for sharing that beautiful piece. What a wonderful pace to start our worship today. Thank you. Welcome, aloha, and good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. We are a beloved community, boldly growing, compassion, justice, and joy. Whether in person or online, we are glad you are here. Are there any first-time visitors visiting us this morning and would like to stand and introduce yourself? We'd be pleased to hear from you. And if not, your presence are just as welcoming. Also, yes, do I see a show of hands? Willing to share? Please, Nancy. Oh. Welcome. And also welcome back to many of our other visitors who've been here before. It's so wonderful to have you back here joining us on yet another Sunday morning. I have more hands. People are willing to share. Please. Welcome, Ohio. Anyone else? Thank you all for sharing, and thank you all for being here. Welcome to our Zoom congregants who join us every morning. Good morning to you all. We are delighted to have our children in the sanctuary joining us for our first hymn. My name is Gabe Tioganko, and my pronouns are he, his. I have the honor of being your worship associate today with our worship leader, Pastor Keola, for whom I am so grateful. If you are not following Keola on Facebook, you wouldn't have known that a couple of months ago, he was at the shores of New Zealand preaching at the Auckland Unitarian Church. And coming the weekend, our Saturday, his Sunday, I believe, he'll be back at New Zealand once again, sharing his stories and sermon with our Maori brothers and sisters. And also, he's been doing some extensive traveling with his partner, Dave. So if you want to access his Facebook and follow him, great stories to share. On behalf of Keola and myself, we'd like to thank you all for choosing our congregation to worship here today. As Keola lights the chalice, I'd like to share these words. We light this chalice as an act of hope in a season of waiting. It is a small light. It does not pretend to be the sun, but it is here. And in the in-between times, a small, steady flame is enough to see us by. Please stand with our gathering music. My spirit belongs to the sky.
Circle round in the boughs high above. Thank you. You may be seated, and we'll say goodbye to our children who are going to go upstairs for spirit play.
Bye, guys.
If that song was new to you, don't worry, it was new to me too. I believe that is one of the songs in our new online hymnal. Yeah, so we're learning the songs from our new online hymnal, and I love that. That was a beautiful, beautiful song. Well, aloha kako. It's so nice to be with you. And I want to say that when we say here that you are welcome no matter who you are, we really mean it. No matter where you come from, who you love, what you believe about the mysteries of the universe, about metaphysics, you're all welcome here. The theme of today's service is Silent Saturday, and there's a sub-theme of community. And so part of that, we're going to have a few surprises. One of them is we're going to have a stone and water ceremony later. Also, our next two hymns are single verse hymns, so we get to hear the words more than once and really feel them. So I look forward to today's service. And now we're going to sing our next hymn, which is Gathered Here, number 389. And again, this is a single verse hymn. I believe we were singing this 3 times.
Sure.
Okay. So please rise in body or spirit and hear the words, Gathered Here, number 389.
The Spirit. This church is our place to experience the depth of life together. This book stands for the lives we share within our beloved community. Some of us, our joys and our concerns are in this book. Others see this book and know that they can share their joys and concerns freely with each other, chatting after the service, perhaps sharing with Pastor Keola, or maybe with the care team. And now you can share your joys and concerns in our community newsletter and on the website. And so let's see what concerns we have recorded in our book of life. A concern that Dan Carpenter leaves for Idaho on Wednesday. We'd like to bid him a safe travel. Dan ahuiho until we meet again. And there is something here for my friend, Deneen. Did I pronounce it right? Daniel, thank you for correcting me. Battling leukemia. Who mentioned that? Thank you very much. Yes, battling leukemia. And she said he's a true warrior. Our hearts and spirits for healing goes out to Daniel. And also immediate concern would be for the communities affected by Kona Low and the cleaning efforts that are taking place as we speak, our hearts goes out to those folks. I have another one from Sorka, and she submitted it on the website, and it sounds like this. Aloha ko, it has been a generative time in my life, as I have received a renewed iteration of my name, which has been some time coming. Please, all who know me as Sorka McCary, be aware that I am now Avery Gilchrist. Avery Gilchrist. That's a beautiful name. Is Sorka here today? Okay. And she's okay with Sorka also. You can call her both until we transition into the familiar Avery. And so she went on to say that that's her mother's maiden surname. And again, you're welcome to continue to call me Sorka. She goes on to say that with the rose of identity and belonging has arrived the thorn of materiality. Following an arrest in violation of my free speech at the recent No Dictators protest, I have found myself unhoused and in need of lodging. Though I am covered on shelter right now, don't worry too much. Looking for leads on a studio or a room to rent, preferably near the Honolulu area. I don't have a lot in way of material means right now, and I could probably pay somewhere between $400 to $500 at present. Though I am actively searching for work opportunities, as well as in addition to my current part-time position, I'm happy to work trade if you can find any way I might supplement you or a friend went with friendly presence and labor. I travel with a loving emotional support animal. My cat name is Squash, who is untuned and sociably being eager to make friends, hoping something may be drawn up from the well. Please find me after one of the services if you think you have anything to share with me. And positive energies your way, Avery, and thanks for sharing with us. So let's see the joys recorded in our book. I have one from Janice Davis. She says, I joyfully became a great-grandmother on April 19. 3 woo-woo-woos. I like to think it was a 2-day belated birthday present to celebrate her 86th birthday. Wow. I can hope to be a great-grandma. Despite last-minute life-threatening complications and an emergency C-section, baby Theodore and mother are doing well. Congratulations, great-grandma. It's exciting news. We are confident that you will be great in that role. So now please take a moment to recall joys. How may sharing your joys inspire wider happiness? If I turn the page correctly, there are more joys I need to share. One says, the rain has stopped. Leanne McIntyre says, it is my great joy to have my daughter Alisa, her life partner Taylor, and my 5-year-old grandson Julian living at our house. They arrived here from Massachusetts Wednesday night and will be living with us until they find their own place. Good luck. Good luck. Love you, family. Thank you, Leanne. What a host you are. The bitterness and the sweetness, the concerns and the joys of life remind us to live these days together. The brave adventure and the holy understanding we share in this journey echoes today as they always do. In the book of life, and in the hearts we each bring to share here today, and may it always be so. Mahalo.
I have one more joy to add. If the news report I saw just before service is accurate, then the dictator Viktor Orban lost the election. Yes. Yeah. Conceded, and despite support from Trump and Putin. So I think that's a joy this morning. Yes. Yes. Tide is turning. Okay, we're going to center today's sermon on a reading. You'll find that reading on the back of your order of service, and we tricked you this morning. You have to flip it. So let us read that. The reading is Silent Saturday. The words are by Jacqueline Woodson. The waiting of Silent Saturday is the triumph of injustice, alienation, and violence, all without a word from God. You don't have to pretend the wait isn't agony. If it feels like God is silent, say so. Your doubts, your grief are safe here. Silent Saturday trains us in the liminal as we make space for a pain that doesn't immediately resolve. How does the silence of God form us? What do you hear in the silence? Sometimes our grief is the most sacred sound. Even in the silence, it has a story to tell you. Just listen. Listen. Now we'll move into one of my favorite hymns, and please stay seated for this hymn, and Noe is going to introduce the hymn and let us know how we're going to sing this.
Hello? Oh, this is on. Hello, my name is Noe. I am the pianist here, and I have the honor of directing this wonderful choir this month. For our next hymn, we will be singing Spirit of Life. And the choir worked really, really hard this past Wednesday to learn the harmonies, and they would really love to share that with you. And so they will sing it through once first, and then I invite the congregation to sing it with us the second time.
Well, everyone, it's the week after Easter. Have you eaten all your chocolate bunnies? How about your Peeps? Do they still make Peeps? Yeah? Okay, good. I love Peeps. Even though we're a week out, I'm still thinking about Easter weekend, and specifically Holy Saturday, also known as Silent Saturday. And that's because I was lucky enough to encounter the words that we read today by Jacqueline Woodson, the words that are in the back of your order of service. She says, "Sometimes our grief is the most sacred sound." I couldn't let that go when I first read it. I kept coming back to it, the way you return to a piece of music that has caught you somewhere you weren't expecting. So I invite you to explore these words with me this morning, but to do so, we'll need to go back a week, not to Easter, but to the day before, to Silent Saturday. It's the long Saturday that comes between the drama of Good Friday and the hope of Easter Sunday. By the way, do you know what happens on that Saturday according to the Christian scriptures? Nothing. Lots of silence. The disciples hid behind locked doors. The women sat with their grief in the dark. The stone stayed where it was. God was silent. No angel, no sign, just the unbearable ordinariness of a day after catastrophe, just the terrible persistence of a time that you would do anything to stop. The gospel writers move quickly past this day. Mark barely mentions it. Luke and John barely acknowledge it. We rush from Friday's darkness to Sunday's dawn because we know how the story ends. We're Easter people, so we know what's coming. But the people in that story didn't know. Mary Magdalene didn't know. The disciples didn't know. They sat in their grief on Saturday not knowing if anything would happen on Sunday except what happened on Saturday. More silence, more of that particular suffocating agony, loss without meaning, waiting without promise. They had no idea that they were in the middle of that story. They thought they were at the end. They thought they were at the end. We too experience our own silent Saturdays, the seasons when the story we thought we were living comes to a sudden and terrible stop. When the thing we counted on, the relationship, the health, the faith, the future we planned is gone. And we're left standing in a wreckage of Saturday, not knowing if Sunday is coming. Not knowing if we're in the middle of the story or at the end of it. And so that's what I mean when I say Silent Saturday this morning. Not a day on the church calendar, but a season of the soul, the in-between time, the waiting place, the moment after loss and before whatever comes next, if anything comes next. Some of you are in that place right now. Some of you have been there for a long time. This sermon is for you. The silent Saturdays of our lives make me think of low tide. At low tide, the water pulls back, slowly at first and then all at once. The ocean retreats from the shore and the reef is left exposed. All that was hidden suddenly stranded in the open air. Creatures that live in the deep find themselves now in shallow pools. The world they knew was shrunk to something small and still and surrounded by rock. I love looking at tide pools at low tide. There's so much happening there, right? So much wonder to be had watching the creatures in their tiny pools. And every creature in that pool has learned to live in this in-between space. The vana tucked under the rock. The small fish still holding in water barely deep enough to cover them. The sea anemone folded in on itself, waiting. Not dying, but waiting. They've built their entire lives in the place that water sometimes leaves. Saturday is low tide. It is a moment when God seems to have pulled back, when the depths have retreated and what's left is small and exposed and terrifyingly still. And we stand at the edge of it and we think, something's gone wrong. Where did the water go? And will it come back? I think many of us know Silent Saturday. The diagnosis has come, but the prognosis hasn't. The relationship has ended, but you haven't figured out who you are without it. The loss has happened, the death, the divorce, the job, the dream, the version of yourself you thought you'd be by now, and you're stranded there in the shallow water waiting for something that might not come. Even nationally, it feels like we're stuck in Silent Saturday, and Woodson names it precisely. The waiting of Silent Saturday is the triumph of injustice, alienation, and violence, all without a word from God, all without a word. That's the hardest part, isn't it? We want a sign. We want meaning. We want some voice to tell us the tide is coming back, that the waiting has a purpose, that the story is going somewhere, and silence just keeps going. The water stays out, and the pool stays small and still and exposed. And that silence can feel uncomfortable, can't it? So uncomfortable we try to push people past it, pretending it doesn't exist, just like the gospel writers did. We're handed timelines for grief. 6 months and you should be dating again. A year and you should be over it. 2 years and people stop asking how you are because surely by now the tide has come back in. Surely by now you must be swimming again. I have to say, sometimes the church is the worst offender. We justify pain as redemptive. We offer the balm before the wound has even been named. We say they're in a better place before the body is cold. We say everything happens for a reason, as if meaning is something you could hand someone like a glass of water. We explain away the pain before the person has had a chance to simply feel it. But sometimes that's not what we need, is it? Sometimes we just need someone to acknowledge our pain, to sit with us in our sadness, in our silence, to say, that must really hurt, without trying to make it not hurt. And just today I was reading the story of Jesus and Lazarus. And do you know what Jesus did when he learns that Lazarus died? He wept. He felt the grief with his community. He didn't say Lazarus is in a better place. And if you believe that story, he knew he was going to bring Lazarus back to life, but he still weeps with his community. When we refuse to let people stay in Saturday, when we rush them towards a resurrection they have not yet experienced, we sometimes unknowingly send a message that something is wrong with you. You should be further along. You should have found hope by now, felt the presence of God by now, made meaning of this by now. And if you haven't, if you're still stranded in the shallows, still watching the horizon, waiting for the tide, then you must be doing grief wrong. You must be broken. Well, I'm here to tell you today, you're not broken. You're just in Saturday. And Saturday is holy ground too. I want to say that again slowly because I think some of you have needed to hear it for a long time. If you're sitting here this morning and you're feeling grief or the heaviness of a loss, if the stone has not rolled away, if the water has not come back in, if you're still in that shallow pool waiting for a Sunday that has not yet come, there's nothing wrong with you. You've not been abandoned. The tide will come back. The ocean doesn't forget the shore. But you cannot rush the tide. You cannot will it back by believing harder or grieving better or forcing yourself to feel something you don't feel. The tide operates on its own terms, in its own time, according to forces larger than any of us. But what you can do in this moment is survive the low water. Hold still, conserve what you have, Tuck into the rock if you need to. Cling to those you love. Find resources and find each other. Trust that this exposed, stranded, terrifyingly still moment is not the end of your story. It's the middle. It's Saturday. Saturday is not the end, my friends. Woodson writes, you don't have to pretend the wait isn't agony. If it feels like God is silent, say so. Your doubts, your grief are safe here. That is what I want this community to be. A place where you can say, the water's out and I'm stranded and I don't know if it's coming back. And no one hands you a timeline. No one points to Sunday before Sunday has come. Because the most sacred thing we can do sometimes for each other is to climb down into the tide pool and sit there. Not rush to fix it, not rush to explain it, not cup water in our hands and pour it over someone as if we could manufacture a tide, but to say, I see you there in the shallow water. I'm here too. You're not stranded alone. Then, towards the end of the reading, Woodson asks, what do you hear in that silence? And then she answers her own question. Sometimes our grief is the most sacred sound. Grief as sacred sound. I want to stay with that. Again, I can't help think about tide pools. If you crouch at the edge of a tide pool, it's not actually silent. If you're still enough, you hear things. Think about it. Maybe you've observed these tide pools recently or as a child. What do you hear? Maybe the small movements of water, the almost imperceptible sounds of creatures going about the work of being alive in a hard place. Your own breath. The distant, patient sound of the ocean that's not gone, only retreated. Even the silence has a story to tell you. Just listen. Listen. We come to this service because the world demands Easter, and some of us are still in Saturday. Some of us have been in Saturday for a very long time. But guess what? There's a community of people here around you today that may be in Saturday too. The person who's in Saturday that you don't know about. The person that drove here alone and sat in the parking lot for 5 minutes before they could make themselves come in this morning. The person who sang hymns based on muscle memory alone because singing is one of the few things working right now. Saturday is not the exception in this room. It is the texture of what it means to be human and love things that can be lost. You're not stranded alone in the tide pool, friends. Look, the pool is full of us. Every creature in a tide pool has learned something those in the open ocean never had to. They've learned to survive exposure. They have learned to hold on when the water is gone. They have learned that low tide is not the end, that the same ocean that pulled back will return, and that the water remembers the shore, that the depths have not forgotten them. And that is what we're learning together in this place this morning, how to survive Saturday. How to be for each other the evidence that life is still possible in the in-between. I cannot promise you an immediate Sunday. That's not mine to promise. But here's what I can promise you, and I mean it with everything that I have. You're not alone in the tide pools of life. Even if we can't see the next tide pool over, it has creatures there holding on to. Look around you. Every person in this room is a creature of the tide pool, strange and small and surviving. Every one of us has known low water. Every one of us has tucked into the rock and waited. And every one of us is here, still here, which means we've already survived more Saturdays than we thought we could. And that's not nothing. That's everything. The ocean has not forgotten the shore, my friends. The water is coming back. And until it does, however long it takes, however deep the silence gets, we hold on together. We are each other's evidence that Saturday is not the end. So if you came here today carrying a Saturday, I want you to leave carrying something else too. Not a promise of an immediate Sunday, but the knowledge that you are not alone in the shallows. That every person in this room has known low water, that we've all had to tuck into the rock and waited. And we're all still here, every one of us, some with smiles and joy to share, which means the tide has turned before and it will turn again. Be still. Be patient. Be held. And listen. Just listen. Beneath the silence, the tide turning. The tide is turning. May it be so. Amen. In a moment, I'm going to invite you to come forward. There's a plate of stones here at the front. And if you're carrying a Saturday this morning, a grief, a silence, a weight you came in with, you're invited to take a stone and place it in the bowl of water. You don't have to name it out loud. You don't have to have words. Just hold the weight of it in your hand for a breath. Let yourself feel it and release it into the water. And then watch what happens when the stone meets the surface. The water doesn't stay still. It moves. It ripples outward. That's a symbol that what you're carrying touches something larger than yourself, and it touches everyone in this room. That is community, and that's what we're here for. So I'm going to invite the choir to come first. We'll line up on this side, and come forward when you're ready. There's no rush, and you can also stay seated if you prefer. Thank you, Noe. Now we will sing together in love one of my favorite hymns, Love Will Guide Us, number 131. Please rise, embody your spirit.
Indeed, we are guided by love. In the midst of so much suffering in our world, it is a privilege to be able to give our whole offering today and every Sunday this month to people and causes who can benefit from our loving concern. Our Share the Plate recipient this month is Aunties Blanche Commune, we know as Hui Mihi Aina. And if I can invite Francine to the pulpit to share some information about their mission and cause.
That's funny because I think most people know it as Auntie Blanche's, but it is indeed Hui Mahi Ai Aina, the houseless community in Waimanalo. We had hoped to get a speaker and resident to come talk to us about the devastation caused by the recent flooding, but the timing just isn't right because they are completely overwhelmed with trying to clean up their village. So they had up to 5 feet of water in some of the housing areas. And Marie was out there a few weeks ago, and she said the village looked like a lake. The tent residents had been evacuated, and the sick residents were in the hospital and couldn't return home because they didn't have any place to go. The Social Justice Council has had a relationship with this community for several years and watched it grow, but now much of that growth has been lost. In conjunction with Hui Mahi Ai Aina being our Share the Plate recipient, we are further supporting them with a food drive. Auntie Blanche has requested canned foods at this time. So there's a box on the ledge at the church entrance for your donations, and mahalo for your generosity.
Thank you, Francine. When the calabash comes by, please give, or use the QR code on the screen, or text the church to Share the Plate Fund Emergencies, or your pledge, or simply send a check. Let's give freely now and receive with great gratitude.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Your gifts help sustain the ministry of this church within these walls and without. Mahalo nui loa. And as Keola extinguished the chalice, please join me with these chalice words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go gently into your week. Before we sing our song of peace and our benediction, I'd like to share a few announcements in our community news and events. Our Reverend Deborah is in Sacramento, California, attending the UU Regional Conference. She will be back next week in the pulpit, so come back next week, Sunday. Her sermon next week is entitled Hearts, Mind, and Soul's Continuum, from Youth to Elder. Also, I got a little note from Sue to announce about our pledges. We were able to collect $71,183. That's a real kind effort. I am told that this year we had more pledges than we ever had in the past. So we continue your energy and your continued support for this church. We have a mission, and our mission is to keep us thriving, to keep us surviving, to keep us alive so we can continue to share in worship each and every Sunday. And if you haven't had the chance to turn in your pledges, please do so that the numbers can increase just a few more dollars. Thank you. And immediately after the service, please join us to chat and enjoy refreshments in the gallery. Sue, are we having a town hall today? Sue nodded. We're having a town hall meeting right after the service. Go ahead and get a little snack, drink, return back here into the sanctuary to receive information about what's going on in our community. Do you want to do the benediction before Song of Peace? Actually, Francine is going to return to the pulpit. Yes, take your time. She have one more announcement she'd like to attach. And so thank you for your patience. After that, we'll receive Keola with the benediction and close with our Song of Peace.
Okay. You're invited, along with everyone else in Hawaii, to the Sustainability Expo at Blaisdell on April 25th and 26th. You can explore the future of sustainable living. The expo has information and solutions to lots of issues, all under one roof, such as home audits, energy-friendly appliances. I like this next one, air conditioning that uses 45% less electricity. EVs, bicycles and automobiles to test drive. Panels of speakers, including Bill McKibben, if you've heard of him. He's a journalist and well-known in the field of environmentalism, sustainability. They're also having breath and yoga workshops and much more. The food court is farm to table / expo. And there's a keiki room with, get this, a solar bounce house. There are flyers. There are flyers at the greeters table, and please take one. There's a poster on the cork wall that also has a QR code for tickets to this event, but I'm sure you don't need them in advance. You can just walk in. That's at Blaisdell. Okay.
Before the formal benediction, just a quick announcement. I'm usually here on the second Sunday of the month. Next month, the second Sunday is Mother's Day, so I'll be spending that day with my mom on Maui. So I'll be here on the following Sunday, May 17th. The theme of that service is going to be Kuleana, and it's going to be called Not My Table, Hon. So I hope you can join for that service. If Jacqueline Woodson's words spoke to you as much as they did to me, you're welcome to take this home with you. That's why the words are here. It comes from a book called Black Liturgies. And in closing, just remember, you're not in the tide pool alone. We are all here with you. And the water does not forget the shore. And now we will close with our final song, the Song of Peace, Hawaii Aloha. Please stand, and we usually form a circle and hold hands, so please ask someone before holding hands. And our friends from Ohio, this is a song we all know, but feel free to listen in.